Hey there, future winner. Do you know what separates the 5% of people who actually achieve the life they want from the 95% who spend their entire lives repeating the same patterns, complaining about the same problems, yet never finding the real answers? Today, I'm going to tell you a brutal truth that most people will never hear. The gap between losers and winners isn't talent, it isn't luck, it isn't background or connections. It's a psychological mechanism that you've probably never even noticed, but it's been controlling your entire life. I've spent the last 5 years studying the minds of both massive failures and extraordinary successes, and what I discovered will completely shatter everything you think you know about achievement. The research I'm about to share with you comes from Harvard, Stanford, and MIT, backed by neuroscience studies that prove exactly why some people win while others fail over and over again. In the next 30 minutes, I'm going to use real scientific research and actual case studies to completely flip your understanding of success. By the end of this video, you'll have the exact psychological framework that the top 5% use to dominate their fields while everyone else struggles. But here's the warning. This information is uncomfortable. It's going to challenge beliefs you've held your entire life. If you're not ready to face the truth about why you might be stuck, click away now. But if you're serious about finally breaking through to the next level, keep watching, because what I'm about to reveal could be the most important 30 minutes of your life. Let me start with some statistics that will blow your mind. 90% of startups fail within the first 5 years. 80% of people can't stick to their New Year's resolutions for more than 2 months. 70% of lottery winners end up broke. But here's the kicker. 95% of people who watch motivational content never actually change their lives. You want to know why? Because they're attacking the wrong problem. They think success is about strategy, about tactics, about finding the right opportunity, but that's not it at all. Success is about psychology. It's about the way your brain processes reality, makes decisions, and responds to challenges. Here's what blew my mind when I first discovered this. Researchers at Stanford followed 2 groups of people facing identical challenges. Same background, same resources, same opportunities. 5 years later, one group had achieved extraordinary success, while the other group was still struggling with the exact same problems they started with. The only difference, their psychological framework. This isn't some feel-good motivation stuff. This is hard science. Brain imaging studies show that successful people literally have different neural pathways than unsuccessful people. Their brains process setbacks, opportunities, and decisions in completely different ways. So let me ask you something, and I want you to really think about this. When was the last time something went wrong in your life? How did you respond? Did you immediately start looking for who or what to blame? Did you feel like the world was against you? Did you think about giving up? If you answered yes to any of these questions, you've just identified why you might be stuck in the 95%. Let me break down the 3 psychological traps that keep 95% of people locked in failure patterns. And then, I'll show you exactly how the top 5% think differently. The first trap is victim mentality. Now, before you get defensive, hear me out. Victim mentality doesn't mean you haven't faced real challenges or unfair situations. It means that, when problems arise, your automatic response is to focus on external factors you can't control, rather than internal factors you can control. I studied 2 entrepreneurs who both lost everything in the 2008 financial crisis. Same industry, same losses, same circumstances. 5 years later, one had built a $100 million company, while the other was still blaming the economy for his problems. The difference? When the successful entrepreneur lost everything, his first thought was, what can I learn from this? When the unsuccessful entrepreneur lost everything, his first thought was, this isn't fair. Psychologists call this internal versus external locus of control. People with internal locus of control believe their actions determine their outcomes. People with external locus of control believe their outcomes are determined by luck, other people, or circumstances beyond their control. And here's the crucial part. Brain scans show that people with internal locus of control have stronger activity in the prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain responsible for executive decision-making and problem-solving. The second trap is short-term thinking. You've probably heard of the marshmallow experiment, but let me tell you what they didn't teach you in school. Researchers followed those kids for 40 years. The children who could delay gratification didn't just do better academically, they had better relationships, better health, higher income, and reported greater life satisfaction 4 decades later. But here's what's really interesting. When they scanned the brains of these adults, they found that the people who could delay gratification as children had developed stronger connections between their prefrontal cortex and limbic system. They literally rewired their brains for long-term success. Meanwhile, our modern world is designed to trap you in short-term thinking. Social media gives you instant dopamine hits. Credit cards let you buy things you can't afford. Dating apps promise instant connections. Everything around you is training your brain to want immediate results, which is exactly the opposite of how successful people think. The third trap is fixed mindset. Carol Dweck's research at Stanford showed that people fall into 2 categories: fixed mindset and growth mindset. Fixed mindset, people believe their abilities are set in stone. When they face challenges, they see them as threats to their identity. Growth mindset, people believe their abilities can be developed. When they face challenges, they see them as opportunities to improve. But here's what most people miss. Mindset isn't just about attitude, it's about brain structure. People with growth mindset show increased activity in the anterior cingulate cortex when they make mistakes. This part of the brain is associated with learning and adaptation. Fixed mindset people show decreased activity in this region when they fail, meaning their brains literally shut down learning opportunities. Now, I want you to think about the last time you failed at something important. Did you think, "I'm not good at this"? Or did you think, "I'm not good at this yet"? That one word, "yet," represents a completely different neural pathway and a completely different life trajectory. So those are the 3 traps that keep 95% of people stuck. But what about the 5% who break through? What makes them different? Let me reveal the 3 psychological mechanisms that separate winners from everyone else. The first mechanism is problem solver identity. When most people encounter obstacles, they see problems. When successful people encounter obstacles, they see puzzles to solve. This isn't just positive thinking, it's a fundamental difference in how they process information. When Elon Musk's rockets kept exploding, he didn't see failure, he saw data. Each explosion gave him information about what didn't work, bringing him closer to what would work. When most people would have given up or blamed external factors, Musk's brain was already analyzing patterns and generating solutions. Neuroscience research shows that when successful, people encounter setbacks, their brains activate the same regions that activate during problem-solving tasks. When unsuccessful people encounter setbacks, their brains activate the same regions that activate during threat response. Same situation, completely different brain response. The second mechanism is systems thinking. While most people focus on individual actions and immediate results, successful people think in systems and processes. They understand that success isn't about one big breakthrough, it's about designing systems that produce consistent results over time. Jeff Bezos didn't just want to sell books online. He designed a system that could sell anything to anyone, anywhere. While his competitors were focused on quarterly profits Bezos was building infrastructure that would dominate for decades. This is systems thinking in action. Research from MIT shows that successful people spend 60% more time thinking about processes and systems than unsuccessful people. They're not just asking, "What should I do?" They're asking, "What system can I build that will automatically produce the results I want?" The third mechanism is continuous learning and adaptation. While most people learn until they reach a certain level of competence and then stop, successful people treat learning as a lifelong process. They understand that in a rapidly changing world, your ability to learn and adapt is your most valuable skill. Studies show that successful people spend an average of 5 hours per week learning new skills, while unsuccessful people spend less than 30 minutes per week. That's a 10-to-1 ratio. Over a decade, that's the difference between 500 hours of growth and 25 hours of growth. But it's not just about time, it's about approach. Successful people practice what researchers call deliberate practice. They don't just repeat what they already know. They constantly push themselves into areas of discomfort where they're forced to develop new capabilities. Let me share 3 real transformation stories that prove these principles work in the real world. Sarah was a serial entrepreneur who had failed at 4 different businesses over 8 years. She was deep in debt, her marriage was struggling, and she was ready to give up. But instead of quitting, she decided to study her own failure patterns. She realized that every time a business hit obstacles, she would blame external factors, the market, her partners, the economy, instead of looking at what she could control. She spent 6 months retraining her brain to ask different questions. Instead of, "Why is this happening to me?" she started asking, "What can I learn from this?" Instead of "Who's to blame?" she started asking, "What's my role in this situation?" Within 2 years, she had built a 7-figure consulting business. The difference wasn't her strategy or her market, it was her psychology. Marcus was a professional athlete who suffered a career-ending injury at age 25. For 2 years, he was depressed, angry, and stuck in victim mentality. He blamed the other player, the referee's bad luck. But then, he met a sports psychologist who taught him about growth mindset. Instead of seeing his injury as the end of his story, he started seeing it as the beginning of a new chapter. He used his knowledge of athletics to become a performance coach for other athletes. Within 5 years, he was earning more as a coach than he ever did as a player. His injury, which he initially saw as his greatest setback, became the foundation of his greatest success. Jennifer was a single mother, working 2 jobs to support her kids. She felt trapped in a cycle of financial stress and saw no way out. But she started listening to psychology podcasts during her commute and learned about systems thinking. Instead of just working harder, she started working smarter. She identified skills that were in high demand and started learning them online during her lunch breaks. She built a freelance business around those skills while still working her day jobs. Within 3 years, she had replaced both of her job incomes with freelance income and was earning twice as much while working half the hours. The key was shifting from trading time for money to building systems that generated income. Now let me give you the exact 30-day framework to rewire your own psychology for success. Week 1 is about awareness. You need to identify your current thinking patterns before you can change them. For 7 days, I want you to keep a thought journal. Every time something doesn't go according to plan, write down your immediate reaction. Are you blaming external factors or looking for internal solutions? Are you seeing problems or puzzles? Are you thinking short-term or long-term? Most people are shocked when they see their thought patterns on paper. You might discover that you're more stuck in victim mentality than you realized, or that you're more focused on short-term thinking than you thought. This awareness is the first step to change. Week 2 is about reframing. Now that you know your patterns, you're going to practice changing them. Every time you catch yourself in old thinking patterns, you're going to consciously reframe the situation. Instead of, "This always happens to me," you'll think, "What can I learn from this?" Instead of, "I can't do this," you'll think, "I can't do this yet." This isn't about positive thinking, it's about accurate thinking. You're training your brain to see reality more clearly and respond more effectively. Week 3 is about building new habits. You're going to implement 3 specific practices: daily learning, weekly planning, and monthly review. Spend 30 minutes every day learning something new in your field. Spend 1 hour every week planning your upcoming week with systems thinking. Spend 2 hours every month reviewing your progress and adjusting your approach. Week 4 is about reinforcement. You're going to strengthen your new identity as a problem solver and lifelong learner. You'll start associating with other people who think this way, consuming content that reinforces these mindsets, and designing your environment to support your new psychology. But let me warn you about the 5 biggest mistakes people make when trying to develop winner psychology. Mistake number 1 is blind optimism versus realistic optimism. Winners aren't optimistic because they ignore problems. They're optimistic because they're confident in their ability to solve problems. Don't pretend challenges don't exist. Instead, develop confidence in your problem-solving abilities. Mistake number 2 is individual heroism versus systems thinking. Don't try to do everything yourself. Winners build teams, create processes, and leverage systems. Success is rarely a solo achievement. Mistake number 3 is rushing for immediate results versus building for long-term success. Don't expect overnight transformation. Real psychological change takes time and consistency. Focus on building habits that will compound over time. Mistake number 4 is perfectionism versus pursuit of excellence. Perfectionism is actually a form of fear, fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of not being good enough. Excellence is about continuous improvement. Winners aren't perfect, they're persistent. Mistake number 5 is trying to do it alone versus seeking support. Winners understand that growth happens faster in community. Find mentors, join groups, hire coaches. Surround yourself with people who are already thinking the way you want to think. Here's what I want you to understand. Your brain is incredibly plastic. Neuroscience research proves that you can literally rewire your neural pathways at any age. The thinking patterns that have kept you stuck aren't permanent. They're just well practiced. With the right approach, you can develop the same psychological frameworks that successful people use. But change requires more than just understanding. It requires action. So here's my challenge for you. For the next 21 days, I want you to implement the framework I just shared. Document your progress, notice your old patterns, and consciously practice new ones. Let me summarize the 3 key transformations that will move you from the 95% to the 5%. Transform from victim to problem solver by taking responsibility for your outcomes and focusing on what you can control. Transform from short-term to long-term thinking by building systems and processes that create sustainable results. Transform from fixed to growth mindset by seeing challenges as opportunities to learn and improve. These aren't just concepts, they're the actual psychological mechanisms that determine success or failure in every area of life. Master these 3 transformations, and you'll join the 5% of people who actually achieve what they set out to accomplish. If this video has given you a new perspective on success and achievement, make sure to subscribe to this channel. I release content like this every week that can literally change the trajectory of your life. Hit that notification bell so you never miss an upload. And here's what I really want to know. Which of these 3 thinking patterns are you going to start changing first? Are you going to work on moving from victim to problem solver? From short-term to long-term thinking? Or from fixed to growth mindset? Leave a comment below and tell me your plan. I read every single comment, and I'll give you personalized advice on how to make that transformation. If you know someone who needs to hear this message, share this video with them. Sometimes, the difference between someone staying stuck and someone breaking through is just being exposed to the right information at the right time. You could literally change someone's life by sharing this video. Next week, I'm going deep on the psychology of wealth, the specific mental models that separate rich people from poor people, backed by research from behavioral economics and neuroscience. Subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss what could be the most important video for your financial future. Remember, your thoughts create your reality, your psychology determines your destiny, and you have the power to rewire, both starting right now. The question isn't whether you can change, the question is whether you will. I'll see you in the next video.